जीवावेग उदर पुस्तवेगम्
एतान् वेगान् ये विश्वेत धीरा
एतान् वेगान् यो विषेहेत धीरा
सर्वाम् अपि मां पृथिवीं सशिष्यत्
सर्वां पपिमां पृथ्वीं सशिष्यात्
वाचो वेगं मनसा क्रोध वेगं
वाचो वेगं मनस क्रोध वेगं
जिह्वा वेगं उदरपस्त वेगं
जीवा वेगं उदरोपस्थ वेगम्
एतान् वेगान् यो विषेत धीरा
एतान् विषेहेत धीरा
सर्वाम् अपि मां पृथिवीं सशिष्यात्
सर्वाम् अपिमां पृथ्वीं च शिष्यात्।
Any Prabhuji or Mataji would like to lead?
वाचो वेगं मनस क्रोध वेगं
वाचो वेगं मनसा क्रोध वेगं
जीना वेगं उदरोपस्थ वेगं
जिह्वा वेगं उदरपस्त वेगं
एतान् वेगान् यो विषेहेत धीरा
एतान् वेगान् यो विषहेत धीरा
सर्वम् अपि मां पृथ्वीं च सशिष्यात्।
सर्वम् अपि मां पृथिवीं सशिष्यात्. Thank you, Mataji. Synonyms: Vacha, of speech; Vegam, urge; Manasa, of the mind; Krodha, of anger; Vegam, urge; Jivha, of the tongue; Vegam, urge; Udarapastha, of the belly and genitals; Vegam, urge; Etan, these; Vegan, urges; Ya, whoever; Visheshet, can tolerate; Dhira, sober; Sarvam, all; Api, certainly; Imam, this; Prithiving, world; Sa, that personality; Shishya, can make disciples. Translation by Divine Grace S. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urge of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. We'll read a portion of the purport because the purport is very long. In Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.9 and 10, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Shukadev Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for his stealing, and he may actually even see a thief arrested by the police. Yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. When an intelligent person hears from the law books and sastras or scriptures that stealing is not good and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from the theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? And there are some beautiful content in the purport, which we're going to skip for the purpose of time. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyana Janashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamai Ham Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Vitumsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashamanusde Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vescha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivash Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nilachal Nivasa Nitya Prabha, Nivaravatra Subhadra, Jagannatha Yadimba. So thank you so much for joining this wonderful Sangha, where we are starting this beautiful subject matter on Nectar of Instruction, or Upadeshamrita, which is written by Srila Rupa Goswami. And this is a beautiful verse. But before that, let's try to discuss about Upadeshamrita, or why Srila Rupa Goswami started writing this wonderful subject matter, and discuss a little bit about the glories of Rupa Goswami, and then discuss about the structure of Nectar of Instruction, and then discuss a little bit about these verses. And I'm sure this verse is one of the most powerful verses, which is going to be discussed again and again in the subsequent days as part 2 and part 3. So the question becomes, who is Srila Rupa Goswami? In your temple, when you go below Lord Jagannath's altar, on the steps, there's a picture of 6 Goswamis, and one of the personalities is Srila Rupa Goswami. And Srila Rupa Goswami appeared in this world around 15th century, and they are the 6 prominent Goswamis who one of the prominent Goswamis of our Gaudiya Vaishnava movement. And the 6 Goswamis are essentially, they are the 2 prominent Goswamis being Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, where Sanatan Goswami is actually the elder brother of Rupa Goswami. And there are so many glorified pastimes as to they come from very rich families and how they transformed themselves into one of the top Vaishnava sannyasis and acharyas of our movement. And then the third important Goswami is Jiva Goswami, who is the nephew of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and Raghunath Das Goswami. So these are the 6 prominent Goswamis which we refer as the Sada Goswamis. And Rupa Goswami is the most prominent Acharya or Goswami in our movement. And the books written by Rupa Goswami are very, very popular. Upadeshamrita, which we're starting today, it has 11 verses. We are starting with verse number 1. And he has also written Nectar of Devotion. Today, Upadeshamrita is Nectar of Instruction. He also wrote Nectar of Devotion, or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is also a beautiful book on this devotional subject matter. And also, he has written many books, but I'm just picking 3 or 4 books for your interest so that you could relate to who this great personality is. He also wrote Ujjala Nilamani, the Sapphire of Divine Love, and also he created a summary of the book written by his elder brother Sanatan Goswami from Bhagavatamrita. He created a summarized version called Laghu Bhagavatamrita. It's about a summary of nectar about Godhead. So as you can see, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, all the 6 Goswamis, they worked as a team without any personal selfish motives. So Laghu Bhagavatamrita is actually a summary of the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which Sanatan Goswami wrote. So these are some of the prominent books, and Sanatan Goswami wrote Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which I just spoke a little bit about. The condensed version of that is written by Rupa Goswami, called Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Laghu in our colloquial language is actually condensed version. Sanatana Goswami also wrote Hari Bhakti Vilas, performance of devotion to Hari. Some of the tenets of our deity worship is actually taken from Hari Bhakti Vilas. And we had Vaishnava Toshani is also written by Sanatana Goswami. So that you put some context around how great these personalities are. And of course, they wrote many more books, but I'm just, for the sake of time, noting down some of the important books. And the position of Rupa Goswami in our movement is very significant. As you know, there are 12 Mahajans, Brahmaji, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, the Kumaras, Kapila Dev, whose pastimes we're reading and describing and discussing in the morning, now in the third canto. Swayambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, so many great Mahajans, Bhishma Dev, Bali Maharaj, who was crushed to the lower planets by Vamana Dev, Sukadev Goswami, who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj, and Yamaraj. So these are the 12 Mahajans. Likewise, if you want to compare some of the great personalities, some of the great souls who propagated, who are like Mahajans for our Gaudiya movement, these are the 6 Goswamis. After Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after writing the Sistastakam, we wanted to go deep into the subject matter of the qualities of a devotee. What should the devotees do and what should devotees shouldn't do? And these are treatises, these are theories, these are concepts which are propagated so nicely by the 6 Goswamis. So for our movement, these are like Mahajans. If you want to draw a parallel between the great personalities who came thousands of years ago in comparison to the great personalities who came 500 years ago to show us the path of loving relationship with the Godhead, these are the 6 Goswamis who propagated the Gaudiya Vaishnava movement by the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also, we all are referred as Rupanugas. Anugas means followers. Rupa means Rupa Goswami. So our method of loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the co-devotee, and how we should deal, how we should not deal, is based on some of the principles laid by Rupa Goswami. So if you follow the path of what is laid out by Rupa Goswami as Srila Prabhupada, once when he came to America, he mentioned that I am a Rupanuga, because he is following the principles laid out by Rupa Goswami, and anybody who aligns with the concepts, the principles laid by Rupa Goswami are called Rupanugas. So that's why Rupa Goswami is kept at a very high pedestal by Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So the literature we are going to go into is written by a tremendously powerful personality of our movement, and based on that, we are all referred as followers of Rupa Goswami or Rupanuga. And where did Rupa Goswami write all this beautiful subject matter? He wrote it under his Bhajan Kutir in a place called Ter Kadam. If you go to Vrindavan, you'll see a Kadamba tree where the tree is sunk because there are beautiful pastimes of Krishna which happened there. And from the tree, you could recognize the tree is surrendered to Krishna. It is always sunken, his branches. And if you look at the picture of the Kadam, it's always, and at that place, at that specific place where Rupa Goswami coined and wrote these beautiful masterpieces, used to be in a very beautiful place in Ter Kadam, which he made as his Bhajan Kutir, where Krishna and Radha used to meet and have some beautiful pastimes. So you could see the place where he used to lead his life, the place where he created all these masterpieces, is in a very pristine, pious, and a great humble place where the tree is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in that mood, he wrote these beautiful So just to put some perspective as to where Rupa Goswami's pedestal is in our movement, you'll realize that he was a very prominent acharya of our movement. And today, when we started Jnanatimirandasya, and we said, Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam. Swayam Rupa means, when will Srila Rupa Goswami, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, give me shelter under his lotus feet? So in addition to Jnanatimirandasya, we glorified Rupa Goswami, seeking his blessing in not just in doing NOI verse discussion, Bhagavatam discussion, Bhagavad Gita discussion. Every time we do this, Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam, in his desire, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to establish this mission of the loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is coined by and propagated by Rupa. Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. So it's based on the principle which is laid out by Rupa Goswami. And also, for the second time, we also mentioned Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam. And we also offer our respectful obeisances onto all Vaishnavas, including the 6 Goswamis, starting with Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and so his place in our movement is very, very significant. So that when a person of this stature writes this masterpiece, we see that this is something which we all should cherish, because sometimes politician writes books, sometimes the people who are not devotees, they write about Srimad Bhagavatam. But here is a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who left all the riches. Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, in today's world will be no less than billionaires, but they left everything and they took the instruction from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from various different places like Jagannath Puri and various different places, and they went on to spread, because at that time, 500 years back, there is a lot of misinformation. There were a lot of apasampradayas who were propagating a very wrong impression about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in order to excavate all those places of devotional interest, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread the 6 Goswamis to Vrindavan to go and reopen those places of Vaishnava interest. And they came and they established. And also, Rupa Goswami was very dear to Srila Prabhupada. Radha Damodar temple, where Srila Prabhupada resided, just from the window of the Radha Damodar temple, where Srila Prabhupada's room was, he was constantly looking outside the window onto the samadhi of Rupa Goswami. And always when Srila Prabhupada used to broom and clean, there are devotees who are contemporaries of Srila Prabhupada. After Srila Prabhupada left this planet, Srila Prabhupada's disciples went to the devotees who lived alongside Srila Prabhupada during his Radha Damodar days before he came to the United States. And they used to ask, do you remember your interaction with our Gurudev? And they used to say, yes, we remember them. Remember Srila Prabhupada very well. He was a sannyasi who used to cry to Rupa Goswami so that Rupa Goswami blessed Srila Prabhupada so that he could go and fulfill his mission of spreading Krishna consciousness all around the world. And Srila Prabhupada used to cry in Radha Damodar temple while cleaning the floor, and these things are told by the contemporaries of Srila Prabhupada after 20 years, 30 years, recognizing the fact that the power of Rupa Goswami in all of our movement, in our sadhana, bhakti, in our ability to align and recognize the do's and don'ts goes a long way in reconciling and strengthening our bhakti in our day-to-day life. So Rupa Goswami is a personality of significant importance. So Nectar of Instruction is comprising of 11 verses. So the first two verses talks about avoid things which are unfavorable to bhakti, which is verse 1 and 2. We read verse 1 and we'll go into the 6 attributes which we all should avoid. And verse 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is adopt things which are favorable to bhakti. And also the intent towards the end of those 4 verses, first 2 verses being avoid things which are unfavorable to bhakti, so that we weed out anarthas in our life, so that we proceed with a clear intent of thinking about how to cleanse ourselves in our ability to have a good relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is nothing but bhakti, verse 1 and 2. And the next 5 verses are verses which are things which are favorable to bhakti, verse 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then why staying in a dham or residing in Vraja is important. That is also illustrated in verse 8, 9, 10, 11. So if you look at the structure, initially we get rid of all the negativities, align with the positivities, so that we go back and reside in Vrindavan and Vraja with the right mood. So that's the structure. It's 11 verses, but filled with the powerful examples, which are practical examples, which can lead us towards bhakti. So this verse today is to avoid urges of speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals. So when you think about what we should avoid, as you know, we have an intrinsic ability to speak, and when we speak, we speak a lot of things. We speak politics, we speak about things we hear, and as you know, human beings have a cheating propensity. So the speech, directly or indirectly, when it lingers, when it is not harikatha, when it is based on mundane topics, it gets to wandering things. And that when it wanders all around, you end up speaking nonsense about others. And behind the scene, this liking for speaking nonsense is actually intoxication. A person who indulges in speaking nonsense, prajalpa, is going to suffer, because you'll get embroiled more and more in that bad speech, prajalpa, 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 and it'll take you away from harikatha. So, as you know, you have a frog on the well or a frog in an ocean, but frog is very safe in the well, but the frog has the tendency to quack, and when it croaks, he invites snakes to come and eat. This is precisely because he can't keep quiet. But does that mean we should be quiet all the time? So this concept of avoiding urge to speak has to be understood in the right context. When Jagai and Madai created problem for Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke very strongly. Our ability to speak has to be thought about whether the speech is helping our devotional life, our devotional enthusiasm. If it is not helping devotional enthusiasm, it is actually rash talk. So we should not talk like a frog. We should talk like a good management principle as to how to move the temple in the right direction or get the festivals right. That speech is okay, but not backbiting, not using the platform of speech in a way which gets us embroiled in a situation which takes us away from Krishna consciousness. And that is a very, so our content of our daily life or dealing should not be like an elephant taking bath. Elephant will take bath, he will clean himself, but immediately when he comes out, Srila Prabhupada mentions in his purport that he will go and roll around or put soil or sand, and then he's back to square one again. So there's no reason to indulge in prajalpa, which is going to take you away from Krishna consciousness again and again and again. And there are many reasons given that you'll see that some people go to places of worship on a Saturday or Sunday. They will do the excuse, or they will just say, "I want to confess," but the next day they're back to doing the same thing. This is in this Krishna consciousness. That is not the right thing to do. The right thing to do is to be always be focused in our bhakti in such a way that we don't talk nonsense. And also, the second thing, and these tenets, these 6 items, can be spoken at a various different levels, providing the example of how uncontrolled speech has given problems in many different personalities in the pastimes of the Lord. Whenever Hanumanji used to be in the flag on the top of Arjuna's chariot, the sheer war cries could pump Arjuna up. So Hanuman used to do war cries, and that will really pump Arjuna up, and he will go mercilessly ransack the enemy. And whenever we are focused in hearing from a sannyasi in the temple or whatever, we should not talk among ourselves. We should limit our ability. Most of the time, some devotees maybe have an ability or intent to use temple as a meeting point, wherein we end up gossiping, we end up talking about so many things. To some degree it's fine, but trying to talk during the discourses or kirtans and not focusing on that, and that is not really recommended, because we have this urge to speak just because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has given us that organ. Doesn't mean that we should use it or rather misuse it, which will take us away. So Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, avoid urge to speak. And then he talks about manasa, mind, because mind can wander. Mind can, today the mind is here, tomorrow mind is somewhere else. So during this course, the mind can wander, and mind wants to eat something, mind wants to be with somebody, mind wants to do things which is not favorable, which will take us away from our regulated life. So we should avoid urges of the mind, which is wandering all around, to really stay focused on. So these are all practical tips written in Sanskrit by Rupa Goswami, that let's not wander the mind. And this is exactly what Arjuna asked Krishna, that define who is Sthita Pragya, who can control his mind. That's where Arjuna asks, I can control the wind, but I cannot control the mind. I can shoot in such a way that if the breeze and the wind is coming in one direction, I could just swing the breeze in a totally different direction by my arrow, because I am the greatest archer, but I cannot control the mind. And that's exactly what Rupa Goswami is saying. Avoid urges of mind. And then Rupa Goswami talks about avoiding the urges of anger. When a person becomes angry, he or she becomes blind. And when a person becomes blind, he can do anything and everything, anything which can be criminal. That's the reason why they say when you are angry, don't make any decision, because that decision is going to be a blind decision. And that blind decision is going to linger because you can't see straight when you are angry. And this anger has taken, if you look at this anger, whether it is Duryodhana or Ravana, it has decimated everybody, because this anger has led them to behave in such a way which normally they won't behave. And this is a greatest deterrent in our ability to love Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And these are obstructions in our path of bhakti. And wherever there is anger, you become blind. And there's this beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita. And then after that, you lose focus. You become a madman for that little time. And you see so many murders, so many divorces are taking place because people are sheer angry. And now there are management courses on anger management, which is Srila Rupa Goswami said 500 years ago, that in order to do devotional service and have love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, avoid anger, avoid urges of anger. And this tongue, as you know, is one of the most dangerous organs, because the tongue will eat, it will crave to eat sugary thing, getting you diabetes. Tongue is a thing which will crave for whatever, and it will get you many diseases. At the same time, tongue is responsible for speech. So that particular organ is so powerful. So based on so many historical things, you'll realize that when some things are said about someone else, and this person revives and comes back and takes revenge, it becomes a war and a battle. And that is why we have to be very, very controlled in this world. With this age of social media, we have to be very, very careful about what we write or what we speak, because these things are going to stick, is going to stay in memory in internet forever. And that's the reason why it's very important for us to respond, not react. And that tongue is a very critical piece. It not only controls our speech, which gives us that tendency to blabber all the time, leading us to destruction, or the tongue gives us that opportunity to taste something, and you keep overfeeding yourself again and again and again. And that is where Srila Prabhupada says, even if you end up, that's why Srila Prabhupada recommends, only eat Krishna Prasadam. Mahaprasade Govinde Namo Brahmane Vaishnave Salpa Punnavatan Raja Vishwasana Vijayate Sarira Vidyada Jadendriyata Heka Jive Fele Visesari. That means this, by eating the prasadam, the remnant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, my tongue is going to stay controlled under the auspices of. So Srila Prabhupada says, even if you end up eating prasadam, which is supposed to be regulated, but don't overeat prasadam. Once you spread happiness, happiness spreads. Likewise, when you give prasadam to everybody, everybody gets an opportunity to get connected with the Supreme. So don't overeat, and if you have to eat, eat only prasadam, not get cravings to eat here and there, and then your regulation goes for a toss. And the fifth one, which we should avoid urges of, is belly. And this belly has a tendency to get overfed. Your need of, as you can see, in United States, majority of the population are dying because of overweight. Now, in most of the places, people are not dying of hunger, but people are dying of the negative hunger. That means they're getting overfed, and that leads to cholesterol, blood pressure. And this, whenever you do not have control on your belly and you end up overeating, you oversleep. When you oversleep, your devotional service goes for a toss. And then one thing leads to another, and you are always in trouble. So Srila Rupa Goswami is very focused in telling us as devotees, is in order to enhance our devotional life, these are the things we should avoid or just of. And the fifth is genitals, udarapastha, which is above the stomach, which is below the stomach, is precisely created or recommended to have progeny, which is Krishna consciousness. But instead, if you misuse the organ and you end up indulging in things like pleasure, sex, it's not going to help you in your ability to stay Krishna consciousness. So this is why these are the 6 main aspects we should avoid urges of, which Srila Rupa Goswami is saying right in the first. And then what he says, if a person can avoid urges of these 6 types, then he can have disciples all over the world. That's why whenever a person in Krishna consciousness in ISKCON becomes a guru, then he has, and there are checks and balances by ISKCON that these are the 6 items, whether this person who is going to be a Maharaj, is going to be a initiating guru, is he capable of controlling or avoiding urges of speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, genitals? And that, if they are not, after some time they fall down. And these have been going on and on. So our Krishna consciousness process and is based on some of these tenets which are established by Rupa Goswami. And the Mayavadi philosophy of doing controlling Mauna, for example. We should not be Mauna for the sake of being Mauna or controlling the speech wherein you don't speak. It's not for that. is should be done to sing bhajans. The speech has to be used to sing glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to hear and speak about the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether it's in the form of a bhajan or in the form of a discourse. So the Mayavadi philosophy, you will see there are so many who will be focusing on Mauna. Mauna by itself is not going to help, but our urge to speak is so great. You'll see, there will be a Ramya situation where, ladies or gents would get on in the corner of a street and we just talk about others, keep on talking about others. And that is what is prohibitive, because once your urge takes to a higher level, it's very difficult for you to not stop. You'll see the same ladies or gents who are meeting in the corner of the street, they will always meet at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock every evening, so that they have the urge to speak and speak. Speak about what? Not speak about Harikatha, but speak about other people and how wretched they are. And that's where Desavini Mataji says, when our house is on fire, why worry about others? And that is, so this urge is a very critical thing which will take us into the rungs of hell in our ability to not stay focused in Krishna consciousness. So we should speak very strongly uh, for devotees, speak in a way which glorifies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but at the same time, we should recognize that the speech is a very dangerous thing and we should try to control it. And likewise, we have these 6 items which we should avoid purchase of. And then it's because it's based on 6 symptoms of surrender: accepting things favorable to bhakti, rejecting things unfavorable to bhakti, which we spoke a little bit. And we should also have a surrender mentality that Krishna is the only protector. And if Krishna is not protecting, we have nowhere to go. And no doubt that Krishna is the only maintainer. It's a typo there. And we are not dependent from Krishna, even if we are independent souls, but we are dependent with the fact that our soul has come from Super Soul, and Super Soul is owned by Hiradakshaya Vishnu, who is the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also, we have to stay humble, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, because if you follow the 6 symptoms of surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and maintain our ability to avoid urges of these 6 organs or body parts, then we will end up becoming more and more Krishna conscious. So beautiful topic, and we're going to listen more and more in days to come about the importance of this verse. And if you see, sometimes in many spiritual pastimes, you'll see references to how people overspoke, and that got them to the downfall. And likewise, the mind was wandering, and Krodha, so many personalities exhibited anger in a wrong way, and how they were decimated and how they invited their downfall is very much exemplified in many different. And then our ability to crave for eating, and then Udarapasthans, belly and genitals. If you control, then if you can control these 6 things, sarvam apimam prithivim sasasya, that means you you tick mark all the qualities which are needed for an acharya, and you'll have followers. If you see some of the big personalities who have tremendous amount of followers, they have all the 6 attributes which they avoid very beautifully. Even if you do not become a great devotee, you will become a great employee. So Rupa Goswami's principles are universal, and if you control your urge and the urge of the 6 urges, you will not only become a beautiful devotee, like controlling the speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals, you'll also become a great employee because you know what to speak during what meetings. Your mind is focused on job, and you're not angry with your co-employee, and you're not craving, so you'll maintain a good health, and you'll control your urge to eat so that you maintain your ability to a good, healthy life, and also not be crazy about sex life and so on and so forth. So we can go on and on, but would like to end here uh, and like to hear about your perspective about this verse. And I'm sure there'll be more as you hear more and more about these verses. It will repose that faith that if you follow the paths led by Srila Rupa Goswami, our founder, and Rupa Goswami is also referred as the Acharya of Acharya who who uh, who embodies the loving relationship. Sambandha, the primary Acharya is Sanatana Goswami. Abhideya is Rupa Goswami. So, Sambandha is relationship in terms of identifying that we need to have a relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the primary Acharya for that is Sanatana Goswami. After Sambandha, Abhideya need to have a relationship with the Supreme. First, you identify that who we should have relationship. That is Sambandha, then Abhideya, then Prayojan. The Acharya who is responsible for Abhideya is none other than Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami has a big impact in our lives through his writings, and we should take it seriously so that we enhance our experience of bhakti by reading the nectar of instruction, these 11 verses, close to our heart, and always follow the 6 main principles we should urge against. It's 7:53. I'd like to end here. I'd like to hear some of your comments and your reflections. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Any comments, Prabhuji, Mataji, from the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, Upadesha Amrita? This is a beginning of wherein we didn't dwell a lot into the verse. We set the tone for glorifying Rupa Goswami, the structure of Nectar of Instruction, Upadeshamrita, so that more and more references we can talk about with examples so that we digest these beautiful subject matter. Any comments, Prabhuji, Mataji?
Yeah, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. It's very wonderful class, and like going back to all those points which we forget most of the times. And Rupa Goswami ji has been maybe a science, because he knows what doctor speaks. You have to control your tongue, anger, and all that to be healthy and wise. So my only thing is, these are very difficult things to manage, and as written, it's for Goswamis or the people who are very high position, and all the day they are just indulge in the worship of Krishna, and they are being occupied most of the time in praying and preaching. But in a normal life, this is different. You meet so many different kinds of people, especially in US, that it's very difficult to manage all those things in practical life. So I don't know how it is in the real world now in Kali Yuga, how like to manage these difficult things. Uh, thank you. That's what I observed hearing your class and making my mind to settle. But when I go out in the world, I feel different.
Yes, Prabhu. So, Rajesh Prabhu, thank you for your comment. So, what is happening? We should think that here, when we talk about what Arjuna was facing, Arjuna was an archer, but Arjuna's situation was very much like us. So, we are not having bow and arrow battles in our day-to-day life, but it was very similar. So, what is happening, Prabhu? Whenever I have seen in my family life, I mean, my extended family, like just now I came back from India, there is a lot of prajalpa in an extended family. And that really takes away our ability to focus. So if we can not do prajalpa, if we can, you may not focus on Harikatha, but if we end up not doing prajalpa, the mundane thing, at least we'll have some time left to do our job properly or read something nice properly. So in that way, we may not become Goswamis, as this verse is saying, but it will make us a better person. Likewise, anger, for example. In the office, if you see, people do not like an angry person. So whenever you control your anger, you calm down, it has a very good effect. And likewise, so yes, if you focus on it very intensely, if you want to take it to a higher level, these are some of the recommendations. And if we can imbibe some of these, it is definitely going to help us as an employee, as a father. As a father, if we are not exhibiting anger on our kids, it's actually a good uh, uh, criteria to become a good father, likewise a good son. So yes, uh, outside is very difficult. It's cutthroat, and we often stumble, and people want to overtake. Uh, but you'll realize that if you want to get inner peace, these are some of the things which will help us. And there is a time for everything, and a situation also plays a role. But once you feel that way, a time will come when you realize that if you end up doing this, your health will be better. You'll not overfeed yourself. Your blood pressure will be normal, and so on and so forth. So this is definitely a recommendation for all of us to imbibe. But I hear your pain points, bro. But thank you for your comment. Any other thoughts? Yes,
Thank you
bro.
so. Yeah. I get you, and yes, we have to reach there. So we have to keep working on that. That's what I am trying. But yeah, sometimes you are with friend, you feel like you have to indulge in the question answer things, and then you go to that level where you can't control it. Yeah, but we have to. So I understand. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yeah, so what
Prabhuji.
Vyasadeva, as you know, Vyasadeva, who is a incarnation of the Lord, he wrote all the Puranas, all the Vedas, all the Upanishads. We just finished Ishopanishad, which is one of the Upanishads. Whatever he has written, and thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, it's all true, because they were all future. He is actually an incarnation of the Lord. Vyasadeva. Likewise, Rupa Goswami, whatever 500 years ago he has written, for enhancing our bhakti, some of the Bhakti Sastri courses, some of you may get certificates on, talks about this book, NOI. This is one of the 4 books which is covered in gaining Bhakti Sastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and so on and so forth. So these personalities were very empowered personalities, and whatever they have said is transcendental. That means it transcends over a period of time. So it is a tall order, but if we get there, it's good for us. Thank you, Prabhu. Any other comments?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, all Hare
Krishna.
Prabhuji, class was very wonderful, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, my question is, Prabhuji, at a neophyte stage, if we hear nectar of instruction, definitely very hard to follow or, implement it. But as and when you keep on doing bhakti, right, means you do chanting of 16 rounds and do seva of God and, your association, right? If this keeps on increasing toward devotees, right? This automatically, whatever you said, it automatically falls down. So I'm now confused at what point of time I have to hear the instruction, right? So that's what I want to educate Rajesh Prabhuji, that, more and more you devote time for Lord Krishna, definitely this automatically will come down. But I would say that, yes, chanting definitely resolves to maximum extent. And more you chant, and more your association with devotees. And to me, yes, hearing the nectar of instruction was very good, but it happened, Prabhuji. Everything I feel, yes. I'm not doing prajalpa, I don't see internet, I go for book distribution, did seva. So automatically everything is, coming down. And fortunately, by God's mercy, joined Bhakti Shastri course. So, everything is going consistently. So I was little, so this course definitely should, I feel, after a period of 3 years, you listen this course, yes, it matters. Means basically everything settles down, and you have to just tick mark. Yes. It is happening.
Yeah. So, Bimal Prabhu, what you shared with us is a natural practitioner yardstick. So, you are naturally practicing bhakti. So, these traits you are seeing that 3 years back when you joined ICNJ, over a period of 3 years, after doing so much of book distribution, doing cooking, you're spending time, you're focused, it is automatically coming. So, but different people are at a different stages of their lives, and there is no good or bad about. Everybody is a servant of Krishna, and they are all trying. But these theories, these axioms, or if these concepts, which Rupa Goswami has penned down in Ter Kadam and so many beautiful places, still true, because it acts as a guide or a prescription for sadhakas. So in that sense, it is mutual, helpful. Okay, bro? Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat to everyone. So, Prabhu, you already nicely describes about the Rupa Goswami's advice. But the question is that, Prabhu, my one problem I have. I've seen that right now there is a war going on and in Israel and some with Palestinian. And I have very bad habit to see the news and everything. How to control that thing?
Yeah. So, see, that's the real challenge, Prabhu, what you're saying, because people are not Krishna conscious. Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father of everyone. So that means all of us are brothers and sisters in that sense, because we are the son and daughters of Krishna, because he is the seed-giving father. Aham bija pradapita. But people don't recognize. People think that they are the sons and daughters of one sect. This is another sect. And now there is a lot of fighting. A lot of people are getting killed. So our mind is constantly getting, and that's why it's all the more important for the entire world to be Krishna consciousness. So, but your question is slightly different as to when you see these things in TTV, you get angered, you get so that, and that is exactly the situation. Ashish Prabhu, you are Arjuna personified, in the sense Arjuna was exactly in this situation. He sees all this anyaya, this injustice, and he was absolutely, and that is exactly why we need Bhagavad Gita in our lives. That's why we need nectar of instruction in our life as to how. See, it's not as if we are all sadhakas. We are like 24/7 good. So whenever our vehicle goes off the track, there are speed breakers on the right that it takes us, and there is that noise. So we really constantly need friends, devotees who can align us. We need to be in a society, and you are not alone. Actually, I also get when the last February the other war broke out, 2022. It was even ghastly. It was very, very challenging to see. So the world is not going to change. We have to change to face the world. And how we are going to change to face the world? Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So these scriptures are transcendental, and these are going to help us. These are all medicines which are going to help us in staying on course. And make no mistake, there will be another war in 2 years somewhere, and we'll also get angry. And this is where we're going to remember Rupa Goswami, verse 101, verse 1, and that is going to give us that faith that if you want to stay on course for Krishna consciousness, we have to reduce our urge or remove our urge for anger and find ways to avoid urge, exactly like how Hanuman did, in his own way. Likewise, do more chanting, likewise, do more service, or however way you could help counter the anger or whatever you're saying, because a lot of things are not in our control. The world is not going to change. We're going to change. The rule applies to us. The rule of vegetarianism regulation applies to us because we have taken the bravery of staying differently for the course. Okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, very nice new discovery. Correct, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sometimes, yes, you are right, Prabhu. I have to do myself. I need to change myself because I tried. Sometimes I'm doing the chanting and other things. Again, I come back to see the news. That is the problem.
Yeah. So bhakti or devotion is not an end game. It's a way of life. Every day has to be a vegetarian in Jai without onion, garlic. stay on course, this, that, next day. So every day is a challenge against Maya, a fight against Maya, and we will prevail if we stay connected with the scriptures and with the devotees and with
Yes,
the
Prabhu.
community.
Yes, Prabhu. True, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Our glories to Sri Prabhupada. So, Prabhuji, on the same topic, so, I mean, there are so many things keep happening in the world. So, I mean, on one hand, we have to be aware of things, whatever is happening. On the other hand, we don't want to be just influenced by those, whatever is happening, right? So then how do we, I mean, I'm just thinking from the practical, any ways or tips, right? Where in this world, of course, we have to know what's going on, right? So the problem is, we want to know something, but then again, we kind of dragged into that, and then what Prabhuji also described, we got keep seeing what's happening with so much technology right now available. Maybe in the olden days, there's nothing available, right? Maybe we'll come to know after so many years, and right. But now with so much technology, constantly, you see so many visuals and all. So we kind of maybe, kind of getting addicted to such kind of a news and always trying to see what's happening. So any practical tips or any ways that we can try to avoid that situation, Prabhuji?
Yeah, so great question, Prabhu. I'll try. It may not be perfect because I am also sometimes in quest for solutions, because I don't have all the solutions anyway. But what is happening? You see, you touched on an important topic, that you see something, you get anxious, you get anxiety, and that is where in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentions to Arjuna that that we have to be like a tortoise, wherein we are focused. We know that we cannot do anything which can change the course of the current war which is happening. It's very sad to see so many people getting killed. But can we do something? If you have a vote, you should not be quiet, as in Nectar of Instructions, Srila Prabhupada in his purport writes that we should not be quiet for the sake of being quiet. Exactly like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu raising Sudarshan Chakra on Jagai and Madai, because he was hurling abuses and he was hurting Nityananda Prabhu. So if you have a way to affect vote, United Nations, peaceful, there's no stopping us. But seeing something happening, what happens is people take so much of stress that they get heart attack. What good is that? So we have to stay insulated, like how Krishna is mentioning, to be like a tortoise, heart-shelled, focused. So that doesn't mean we are going to ignore it. If you can do something, let's do it. If you can't, then why affect us in a negative manner? It's not going to affect us. A lot of people, childhood, for example, young kids, they get affected when they hear something very ghastly bad happens to their friends. But that derails them. They take to smoking, they take to whatever, drugs or whatever. So the point is, let's not have this have a negative consequence. If you can influence something, we should, but at the same time, stay connected with devotees who will give you that example from the scriptures where such things did happen, and also people got over it. And look at the Russia-Ukraine war. Now it has taken a backseat. So many people, so many unnecessary, so many buildings. It's not right. War is never right. But in order to have good association, read scriptures, chant, and also indulge in devotional service in such a way that the mind stays. So this is where Srila Prabhupada's recipe of recommendation is higher taste. If we have a higher taste and transcend to that higher taste, the lower taste we have, politics, NBA, CNN, which was taking a lot of our time, will not take. So we are kind of insulated. I mean, if you think about it, 10 years back when you joined, some of you joined, are you that agitated now as you used to be 10 years back? Probably not, because Krishna consciousness has opened up some areas of feeling wherein we realize that anything bad which will happen to us is a prasad of the Lord. It's not that bad things won't happen to us. Bad things will happen to us, but our ability to respond to that will be more like Sitosnu Sukha Dukkada. If bad is coming, bad will pass. If good is coming, good will pass. So we'll not be unnecessarily happy with good things and unnecessarily be sad with sad things, and to just think that it's a remnant of the Lord. And when bad things happen, we realize that our bad mortgage, our toxic stocks are out of our way. So maybe let the loss happen, so that it's our ability to respond, as Gaur Gopal Prabhu mentions, not react, is going to help us. Most of the time we see something and we react, and we learn the art of from these life coaches like Gaur Gopal Prabhu. He says, don't react, respond. So once we start responding, we get there slowly and slowly, and we become stronger at the end. Was that okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
If there is no other question, we can end here, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji, yes, actually, I was about to ask the question, but almost similar questions, like I listened to others, like they have very similar questions. Only thing I just wanted to share, I also used to watch CNN, BBC a lot, and the news, and was not getting that much like agitated by these news, whatever is happening in the world, but still it was a concern. So what I started doing, I can do only pray for them, right? If somebody is losing life, or if somebody I see in trouble or some. So by coming in this association, and by started reading all the scriptures, by attending Bhagavad Gita class, Srimad Bhagavatam, and also doing some services like garland seva. So it's now pretty much under control. Only thing with the speaking is also like a very controlling way. I used to speak very less when I was little, or during school days or like that, but then I got changed as I was growing up, because I had to speak up when I was out in the world. But now I'm coming to the same level, when like not willing to talk much, or if there is something really important to talk, only then I want to talk. But now what I'm facing, sometimes, like, you know how this world is, if person is speaking less, they like it. But your very near and dear ones, they don't like it when you are speaking less. So I'm kind of facing that situation. Like I see maybe my family or close ones, they are not that happy because they are watching that how I'm changing. But I'm telling them, remember how I was during school days or college days, it's the same thing. maybe I changed because I had to change. And now I don't feel like there is need to talk much or there is need to discuss anything much. I don't see any relevant topic. So better focus on this bhakti if you can do, and your other duties if you have to cook or some other things to take care of.
Yeah.
So just wanted to share that. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Mataji, you talked about a process by which you have transformed. In the childhood, you were talking, then later you were talking a little bit. And then when you joined Bhakti, you realized that this is not relevant in my progress. So you saw the transformation. So that's exactly what Prabhupada says. If you take to Krishna consciousness, you see the transformation in this life. In this life itself, you can transform and make your journey. So on the topic of your relations who want to talk more, but they are not happy with you because you have transformed, is because they have not transformed. So now we have a situation. Should we change for good or should we change? So this is exactly every ISKCON family member is facing, where the other family member is not Krishna consciousness. And that is a challenge. And we have to live with this challenge. It's not going to go away, because I just came back and I see the society, they're not interested for the principles laid out by our Krishna conscious movement, which is so practical. And because they have not seen the taste, and they don't want to, they think by coming into Krishna consciousness, they have to get rid of their food life, this life, wake up early, and they don't want to give it up for the sake of their comforts, which they think it is comfortable, but actually it is not. So for that aspect, there's nothing to regret. That you have transformed, you have experienced it, they have not. There's nothing to regret and change. So stay on course, everything will be good.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare.
I think Semester Prabhu is probably off, is doing some seva. Amritanand Prabhu, you want to close? If you're around.
Krishna, thank you for a nice class, Prabhuji. So let us thank Prabhu by calling out Haribol 3 times. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol.
We bring now. So we will chant prayer. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Let us offer our humble obeisance to all the assembled Vaishnavas and the Sangha and all over the universe. Vanchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Vaishnavrinda ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yadai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Mo. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Bhakti Rakshak వెళ్తాం కదా Saturday.